I want to be available to folks to answer your questions. I know, as this gentleman referenced, you have concerns that obviously weren't covered in the 10 questions. I am not ducking anything. I will answer to the best of my ability any concerns or questions you have.
So you're going to have a Q&A now, or going to be a mixed Q&A?
Well, what I'm going to do is, if you have a question to ask me, and this isn't a formal part of the conversation, folks can go get a bite to eat, you can go, leave, go home, do whatever you want to do. I'll just take a
People
question.
here want to know the answer.
Okay.
Okay. Number one, are you still on the town council?
Am I still on the
Yeah.
town council?
Yeah.
I am taking a leave of absence for the period of the election for the town
Okay.
council.
All right. Number two, we've been asking, we don't know, that, and you know why we're all here.
I don't
We're here
attend
on
the
that piece
meetings.
of property that's for sale.
Well, now Derek, in defense of myself, I don't know why you're all here, and I don't know if everybody's here for the same reason. So as this gentleman alluded to, unless somebody asks me a direct question, it's pretty hard for me to answer.
Okay, this piece of property proposed, going up to rezoning up on 273 King George Highway.
Yes, sir.
For a, we're not sure what, halfway house, overnight accommodations. And so the concern is that nobody was questioned in our neighborhood. Nobody was asked, do you want that there? Or what the scope of it is.
Okay.
So where does it stand right now? Is it sold? Is it a done deal, other than the rezoning? Are we coming here trying to figure out some way to stop this for no reason? Is it a done deal?
Well, I'm not gonna, tell you something that I know just because folks want to hear it. Whether it's a good answer or a bad answer, it's the answer that I have to give, and I'll be honest. I don't know. I'm not up to date on that particular file. This was a provincial decision. Housing is a shared responsibility. Primarily, housing for homelessness has become a real challenge for Miramichi and throughout New Brunswick. I was not at the council meeting in question where it passed. I am not involved directly as a candidate in this election in the development of that property.
If it did pass, what passed? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I wasn't at the meeting then.
They passed for, spend $150,000 to put water and sewage into the building.
In any case, I'm not implicated in the plan for the affordable housing location or the development of the same. And it's October the 6th, so winter's coming. So if they have a location defined, and the location, as you've alluded to, sir, has the plumbing and that sort of thing already started,
I don't know if that has started, but they
Okay.
passed.
I don't either. Yes?
So there is a temporary use variance application that was approved. Some people got letters in the mail.
Right.
So hypothetically, if we are putting an out of the cold shelter there and a shelter for people who are unhoused,
Yes.
what would be your prerogative in terms of how do you maintain? We heard seniors are so important, we want to keep seniors in their houses.
Mhm.
Seniors in their houses,
Yep.
in a neighborhood that they've been in for decades.
Yep.
That they've maintained, that they've paid taxes. How do you keep them safe? How do you keep their property safe? How do you keep their stress level down? Because I think, by the looks of it, people are very concerned
Yes.
about what's happening. So hypothetically, because we don't have the facts, even though we've tried to get the facts over and over and over and over again, if you were elected, what would you do to keep your constituents, especially these seniors who are so important, safe?
It's very difficult for me to answer hypothetical questions. It
Okay.
truly is.
So it's gonna be there for a year, according to that letter. In
Yeah.
this year, what are you gonna do if you're elected?
If I'm elected and a housing shelter is put in place for the upcoming winter, then obviously that has to stay for the winter time, and that will be the location. So if the current provincial government has chosen to put a homeless shelter there and it's established, then that's where it's going to be.
No question. But the provincial government is funding it, and whether it was this current government or your government,
Right.
who knows? What are you, as the elected official, going to do to protect this community?
So to protect the community, we'll do what we've already done in other places. There needs to be adequate staffing in any type of assisted living environment. Not only adequate staffing, but adequate training for the staff involved. Also, an increased police presence and a 24/7 oversight of the facility to ensure, just as I've already alluded to, as respectfully as I can, that people that currently live in the neighborhood are safe and feel secure living in their homes. I know that a homeless shelter is a very controversial intervention. I can appreciate and respect, sir, that you feel upset about it. No matter where this was going to go, people don't want it. They don't want it in their neighborhood. If it was my prerogative, I would have preferred to have the homeless shelter not placed directly into a residential neighborhood. But that wasn't my choice.
It wasn't your choice, but now if elected, it will be your responsibility
Yes,
to
ma'am.
maintain the integrity of that
And I will
neighborhood.
take that responsibility on wholeheartedly, should I be elected as your member of the Legislative Assembly. I'm here to support you, I'm here to work hard, I'm here to do my best. The reason I came today, I could have opted out on this meeting too.
appreciate you coming,
I came
for
today
sure.
and I stayed extra time to answer your questions
100%.
because I knew, or I had an idea of what the question was going to be. But before I answer a question in a public setting,
Mhm.
I have to be asked it.
For sure. And we do appreciate you coming and taking the time. We've had an awful time trying to get any sort of answers.
I understand your
And there's a
frustration.
lot of stress.
Yes, ma'am.
So we were hoping today that we might get some sort of reassurance, and we understand you're not elected, but we wanted to make sure the voices were heard.
I will do everything that I can possibly do in order to make sure that the homeless shelter is run in a professional and secure fashion so that you stay in your houses, your neighborhood, and that your safety is not impacted. I will do my best.
Is there a
In
committee
there
that
lies
looks
the
at
problem, Sam. They're in there while they're sleeping, then they're sent out. They can't stay there all day long. They're sent out into the neighborhood.
I don't know the specifics.
Yeah.
I know the one in town on Regina Street, they have to leave at a certain time.
I'm sorry, folks, and I'm being honest, I don't, this lady back here,
So, homeless shelters do have to go somewhere, correct? Would that, you mentioned rezoning in your questions, would that have had to be rezoned first in order for the shelter to be placed in there?
I would assume, yes, it would have had to be
So
rezoned.
how does rezoning happen?
Happens through municipal council in concert with the provincial government and the regional service commission.
And they're not consulting the public for that?
If they didn't consult, they should.
There's a letter that just went out to, if you were within 100 meters, 100 meters.
But it's already been rezoned?
No, a letter just went out on the 27th, stating that there would be an opportunity to comment. Or I'm assuming ask questions or comment maybe, October 15th. So that's
So it
before,
hasn't been
that's
rezoned
before
yet.
the rezoning.
And I don't think I
meeting.
got that.
In any case, folks,
Yeah, a
in
lot of
terms
people
of,
do that.
of my role here, I really appreciate you coming out. I did my best to answer your questions, and I wish each and every one of you the best, and I will do my best going forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Where
Sam.
can we get the answers from Sam? I know that you didn't come prepared for all this, but where can we get answers? I think this is.